I have taken 10 days of leave, 10 working days of leave. Due to project urgency, my manager may want me to in office on 7th day itself. He can send a request to me, request written from leave, okay, with a reason or a comment why he is requesting me to come back to the office quickly. That is possible here. Okay, and here the request is based on range of dates, including first day of leave and expected return day of leave. So what does that mean? For example, I'm availing around 20 days of leave. So I will select first day when I want April 1st. Then I require to select April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, excluding weekends, till 20th. So that's what they're saying. Request is based on range dates, including first day of leave and expected return day. You are required to select all the days in the calendar and give a reason if applicable and submit the record. Okay. So, but here you have to submit each request. For example, I'm taking time off for 4 days. I require to submit 4 times. Okay. Of course, we have a configuration flexibility. If you don't want the employee to allow continuously, if you don't want to allow the employee to select multiple times, we do have an option. But the default we have from Workday is, for example, I'm taking 4 days of leave. I have to submit 4 requests. If I'm taking 3 days of leave, I have to request 3 days. Okay, that's how it is. But here, only one request is enough. You no need to submit multiple requests. Just you have to select the date range, start date, end date, and submit the record. Okay. If any employee going on leave and would like to display an indicator, okay, Kiran is on leave. So my name and next to my name in the braces or in the parentheses, you can see on leave. Kiran is on leave. Okay, you can display that indicator so that the people will know if they're looking for a profile in Workday, they can know, okay, this person is on leave. But in time off, we don't have such option. You cannot see whether this employee is on leave or not. Why? Because this is a short term. Okay, this is a short term. This is a long term. So you have to display so that we will be aware the person is on leave. So what are the common examples of leave types or time off types? So typically, we can see the we can configure family and medical leave, long-term sick leave, sabbatical leaves. Okay, these are all long-term leaves. And here, sick time off, vacation time off, floating holidays, bereavement leaves, etc. That can be configured under time off. Okay. Any questions in the differences?
Kiran, point number 3 in the time off. So if person is on the vacation for 1 week, so does he need to mention each and every day or just from one day and the last day?
We have both options, sir. The standard behavior is Workday recommends each and every day. The reason is when you submit each and every day, you have an option to correct, cancel, resign, override. Okay.
Okay.
So you do have an option in one go. You want to allow the employee to select multiple days. That is also possible, but we have to configure the time of validation based on that. What is the minimum number of days? What is the if I give minimum number of days is 1, maximum number of days equal to 3, then the person can select 3 days continuously. If I give minimum equal to 1, maximum equal to 1, then the person can select only 1 at a time. It's based on the configuration. The standard behavior is multiple times. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem. Any questions, ma'am, here?
Just one question.
Yes, please.
For leave of absence, this may be something you can address later on, but one question I do have, when we place somebody on leave of absence and it shows that on leave status, can this feed into the full-time headcount reporting?
Okay, you were saying in the reporting, can we pull out that information in the reporting, correct?
Because generally when people are on leave after some point, we don't pay them anymore, right? They're like, their pay might be at $0 because extended maternity leave, whatever, each country is different. It would be good to get that explanation when we do reporting. If people are on leave, can we extract them from the headcount reporting? And if, yeah, that's something I would be interested.
Right, ma'am. So what happens here, we do have standard reports from Workday. So the reports are inbuilt reports. However, so those reports will fetch out if you want to see how many employees on leave on daily basis, a month, or weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. You can run those report to get to know who's ever on long. But of course, we do have custom reports. This report helps us, like if you are looking for only particular employees on particular leave, or employees whosoever are on leave at this moment as of date, or an employee has taken greater than equal to these many days. If you have these requirements, of course, you can create a custom report and fetch that information.
I see.
We have a delivered fields are available on that. Yeah, standards are there, ma'am. Standards are it's like the Workday standard report will display this is this employee is on leave. Yes, he's on leave.
Okay.
But if you want to know when he is on leave, what is his expected date, total and number of days as of now he has taken, who approved the leave. If you want such information, then we may require to write a new report.
A new report. Okay, maybe when we do the report section, I can ask the question again and we can have a look.
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Right. And then I'll take you to the timer plan first, and we'll see what are the components. I always request or request first understand the time off, okay, then move on to the leave time, so it is easy to compare and you know which plan needs to be selected for what requirement. So what I will do now, I will take you to the time of learn path first. Okay, so here first components, let me explain. All right. So today we'll walk through this on the PPT, since it's just we are discussing overview or terminology, understand terminologies, examples, and definitions. The next session we're going to configure. I will come up with a scenario and we'll configure the plans in the tenant. Okay. So time of plans. Time of plans has some components. If you want to create a time of plan, we must configure these components also. So what are components we have in that? We're creating a time of plan based on the requirement again. Track balance, not track balance. Track balance in the sense, track how many days the employee is taking the leave from day 1 to till the employee in service. There is no tracking is required, means accrue as you go. So based on that option, we require to decide what are options we need. Okay, let's see first. We'll understand the components. Time of plans in order to create, we need accruals. Accruals is nothing but adding. Okay, with the conditional logics, calculation logics. So you'll add some amount of hours or days into the worker. Time off is nothing but subtraction. So here you are adding based on employee service. Here the employee is taking the balance amount. The balance leaves. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about these key components in today's session. This is the most important. Validations means, so what is the minimum number of hours, minimum number of days you want to allow the employee to opt the leave? What is the maximum number of days, maximum number of hours? Okay, plan can be in days or in hours based on the requirement. An employee can avail. For instance, I said minimum 4 hours, maximum 8 hours. Okay, minimum 4 hours I gave, and I'm saying maximum at the same time. My validation says this way, maximum 8 hours. The employee can request the leave. Now, if employee is requesting less than 4 hours, you should throw an error. Hey, you cannot, that error message also we have to configure. Validation, custom validation message. As per the company policy, you are requesting the leave, you are requesting the time off, you must, minimum you must request 4 hours. Less than 4 hours are not acceptable. Similarly, if any employee is requesting more than 8 hours, then again we require to trigger a message, a hot stop. You cannot opt for 8 hours. These are the maximum number of hours you can request. So what does it mean? The person required to submit multiple. For example, I want 2 days. I want 2 days of leave. So maximum I gave 8 hours, which means 1 day. So he had to submit first, then again he has to request for another leave and submit first. Okay, so here you have a control. Continuously, do you want another person to select, or do you want to restrict the person to select only 1 day of leave? That is under validation. So minimum, maximum quantities. Also, there will be certain plans where we default it. We don't give an option to an employee. We don't give an option to an employee. You are availing this leave, you are mandatory to force you take these many hours. That's it. Okay, you can also default the units. Can be hours or days. You can default it. That is also will configure on the validation. Apart from that, the custom text, the validation message, what do you want to populate whenever the employee met the validation? Okay, that message also we will configure on validation. Then the business processes associated with the time off. Request time off, adjust time off, or correct time off. Sorry, adjust time off, not correction is not possible. Adjust the time off. Okay, those options. So we will configure the BPs also. Then, as I said, overrides and adjustments. So initially employee requested 8 hours. Then employee and some personally has taken 8 hours, he has opted. Then immediately he might have completed his task within 5 hours and he wants to return to back to office, but he requested for 8 hours already. Then he can raise this issue with his absence partner or his manager, whoever have access. They can adjust the value. They can adjust the value. He has already taken 8 hours. Sorry, he has already requested 8 hours, but let's adjust to 5 hours because he's back to office. Okay, not only this. So what are the balances this employee has at the end? You do have an option called adjustments. So that will fall under accruals. We'll discuss in detail. Okay, overrides, override the number of hours, number of days are adjusted. It's just a checkbox so that you are able to override. Mass advance. Let's say this task normally owned by the absence partner or admin. Of course, up to the customer requirement, to manager also can do. Let's say a manager monitoring 50 employees. So assume there is a bridge holiday. Of course, there is not holiday. Okay, almost 20 employees requested time off, or let's say optional holiday. 20 employees request for the time off. So 20 action items will be available from the manager's inbox. So 20 times he has to approve one after another. Of course, mass approval also there, one after another. Instead of that, he can do mass advance. Okay, instead of each and every person, let's push all the steps, approve it. That is also possible here. And this is time of calculation engine. If you are tracking the balance for any time off, if you select the checkbox track balance equal to true, then it's mandatory you require to create the accrual shell. In the accrual shell, we require to create the calculations based on the requirement. Okay, so what are those calculations we'll discuss. Kindly consider this is just an overview session. Okay, so any questions on these components? So we will discuss in detail about these two components in a second. They're the most important. And absence components. While we're configuring, again, we are going to touch each and every component. Okay, now let's talk about these two values first. These are absence. First, we'll complete time off. Okay. Time off overview. So this time off plan, it provides flexibility. You can override, you can adjust, also intuitive configuration capabilities. Okay. So a time off plan also has eligibility rules. Who is eligible for this time off plan? Only USA employee is eligible, or within USA, only regular employees eligible. Contract employees are not eligible. Within regular, again, full-time employees only eligible. So we require to create some eligibility rules. Who is eligible for this plan? The restrictions. Then we do have upper and lower balance limit. What is the maximum upper limit? Okay, when you create an accrual, the accrual will keep add the balance. It will keep on adding the balance. When it's keep on adding the balance, there will be a maximum limit, correct? So we are not gonna, of course, some plans might be there, exceptional cases, the balance can be accrued, but most of the plans we have a maximum limit. Okay, when the maximum limit met, the accrual should stop there. We should not gonna add any balance. Okay, at the same time, lower balance limit. So you have to specify what is the minimum, what is the maximum number of days as per this plan. Accrual amounts, this value is coming from the calculations. And then after carryover amounts. For instance, if the employee, okay, 10 days we are given as the maximum upper limit per annum. The employee has availed only 3 days, which means still 7 more days the employee can take the leave, can take the time off, correct? But the year is already passed and moving on to the next year. Do you want to add the 7 days to the next calendar year so that the employee will get 17 days of leave? Or do you have any expiration rule, not more than 5 days cannot be carried forward to the next year? These details we have to check with, ask to the customer first. So what is the carryover balance you want to pass it on to the next cycle? Okay, so you have to specify a number there. So automatically, though the employee has 7 days or 10 days, what are the number you have specified, that number only is going to be added to the next cycle. Okay, that is carryover limit. Okay, so then this is very flexible for payroll and time tracking. And also, if you terminate an employee, you can also pay out the balance. Okay, what are the number of days is left? You can convert the days, you multiply by the rate value per day, and you can process in the payroll. That's possible in the timings. Okay, so we'll see the components, then I will take the questions. So this is the most important area, especially when you're working on a time of the key components. There are 2 key components. One is accrual, which adds balance. One is time off, which subtract from balance. What do you mean by add balance? For instance, if I hire any employee hired in the month of Jan 2021, any employee hired in the month of Jan 2021, first date or first week, okay, a start of period. Let me put it this way: start of period means first day of the month, first day of the year. That employee should get 1 day of leave every month, 1 day of time off every month till December, which means 12 vacation days the employee will get in a year. Okay, so here this accrual we will create accordingly. If the employee hire date equal to so on so date, and this is the number of amount of balance has to be accrued. We'll write a logic in the calculation. Whenever the employee completed 1 month of service, automatically Workday or automatically this accrual will add 1 day to this calendar. 3 months are done, three days the employee can take leave. 5 months are done, 5 days it will add. So it will keep on add. Of course, as I said in the before slide, upper limit will be there. It will keep on add until it will meet the upper limit. Now the employee, once the balance has been added, he has to request the time off. So he has to take the absence or time. He has to take the time off from this accrual. 5 days is added. He can request 3 days. What is left? 2 days is left. Okay, so time off is nothing but subtraction. Time is nothing but subtraction. And one more key point: whenever you're selecting accrual, which means you are tracking the balance. So whatever we discuss, it will be there. You are tracking the balance. Okay, fine. Any questions here on this slide? Time off plan. Accrual versus time off. Okay. Until we go on the screen, it will be like this. No problem. This slide will explain clearly what is accrual with some good examples. What is time of balance? So what is an accrual? An accrual determines how much time of employee receive for a period of time. Just now we discussed for 1 month, 1 day will be added, right? Determines how much time off employee receives for a period of time. Determines when employee can receive the accrual. When this employee can receive the accrual. He should complete 1 month, then only add the 1 day to the next month. So this is my condition. So I have to write the rule based on that, the calculation. And which is used only with the plan that tracks the balance. And remember, as I mentioned, if you check the box, track balance, then only we require to create this one. If you're not check the balance, which means you're not tracking the balance, there is no accrual concept. That is called accrue as you go. Take as many of days you want. And mostly these plans are applicable for executive members. The employee who have 10 years of experience and the employee management level equal to director and above, then they're eligible for accrue as you go. If the employee who have less than 10 years of service and the employee management level equal to non-management, then they're part of accrual. So these kind of requirements normally we will get. Okay. So this can be used in time frame calculations by assigning a time calculation tag. So what happens, the time tracking team can create a tag and they can tag these accruals or this time offs to the time tracking. I have not worked on the time tracking much, but I know how to configure the calculation tag and assign to a payroll earning, and that I can show. And which also allows for eligibility requirements or limits that differ from the time of plan to be defined for the accrual. Okay, so here we do have, though it has given 10 days, there are some exceptional cases you want to use 2 more days. Override the balances is possible. Okay, any questions here on this accrual? What is meant by an accrual?
So just to confirm, Kiran.
Yes, ma'am.
Even when the time off plan says, country equals USA, and you at the time off plan level, you can define the eligibility requirements, and as you mentioned, you can define the upper and lower limit.
Right.
But within a plan, you can have many accruals built in as well.
Right.
So
right.
This is the point where if there is a certain group of employees that differ in their eligibility requirements or the calculation, this is where we can go, because some of the words you see, it's the same at the time off level, at the plan level. When you go into the accrual, they ask you the same questions, and this is the time we will specify for the group or the population that the accrual is applying to.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct. So there are certain requirements, but I have not seen a real-time requirement. But during certifications, you can create one plan, but please remember, okay, let me put it in this way. We can create one plan for 2 different countries. If the two, for example, US, Canada has one plan, same eligibilities and the same requirement. The upper limit is same, the lower limit is same, carry forward limit is same, and accrual adding remains same, and time of validations remains same. You can create one plan for 2 countries, but termination paid when you are performing, the currency will be default. So in that case, Canada person needs to be create a Canadian earning for that, and US team has to create an US earning for that. 2 different earnings has to create. That will be taken care with the payroll. But what I'm trying to say, one plan you can configure also for 2 countries, which means 2 eligibility. Yeah. Okay. Payroll has to be paid care again when they're processing this amount.
Okay.
So we have some scenarios. We'll discuss those.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Now we saw what is accrual. Now let's see what is time off. This is interesting. So what is time off? The user requests to take time off and reduce the time of plan balance. So as I said here, we will add the balance. 10 days we have added. Now this person wants to take 2 days of leave. So what is the leftover balance? 8 days. So here we're going to subtract from the added balance. How we will subtract? The employee has to request the time off with the unit of hours or days based on that. And here, whether this time off plan can be used to define whether adjustments are allowed. If we want to allow the adjustments, we have a checkbox that we want to allow the adjustment or not. Non-mandatorily, you have to allow. Workday gave the flexibility. Okay, if you want to adjust the balances, You can select the checkbox so you can adjust it. Validation rule that prevents users from entering invalid time of request. So as I mentioned, maximum number of hours, maximum number of days, minimum number of hours, minimum number of days, you can restrict it. At the same time, we have some other validations. An employee is taken time of plan A, and that employee is not allowed to take the time of plan B. If the employee is taking time of plan B, he should give a validation. Okay, cross plan dependency we used to call. That requirements also we can achieve. Okay, you can restrict an employee to take, hey, here you have a balance, complete this balance first, then move on to the next plan. You are not supposed to take both the plans in one cycle. So that is also possible. We have a configuration for that. Okay. And eligibility rules that eligibility rules that override what is defined in the time of plan if needed. You can still override the eligibility rules for exceptional cases. Okay, so it's not like madly how to go. You have an option to do that, but only this permissions will give only to the absence admin or partner. And here time of reasons can be configured to provide a granular explanation for why the time off is being taken. Earlier we don't have this option. So Workday has been added this only leave whenever the employee is requesting leave type, then you can configure reason. Okay, why you are requesting for these many days. So now in time off also you can configure reason. For example, I'm taking for time off for 1 day. I can specify personal reason, or my parents are unwell, or I'm not feeling well. Okay, so you can enter a reason so that your manager will be aware what is the reason you are requesting for this time off. And you must create a timeout definition for each time off users can request. So of course this can be over, and just now we said, right? So you can assign only one event at a time, 1 day at a time. That's what they're trying to say here. Okay, and you can select only one time off. You cannot select multiple time off in one go, one after one. So any questions on this slide, ma'am? Okay. Right. So actually this is what just I want to give an overview of time off plan. And further I want to discuss about timings. We have not completed. We have to talk about accruals and how the calendar looks. Okay, these are all details. Then I also want to show how to request time off, but I have not received the tenant date from the organizer. Hopefully I will receive today. So these are all I want to show on the tenant instead of explaining what is the field by field. Okay, so since we log into this page, so when you're creating a time off, right? So the other tabs we have. Okay, balance. When you select track balance, under calculation or accrual, few fields will be populated. You mandatorily have to configure. When you select track untrack balance, not mandatory, you have to define these two. You can ignore. Okay, this we will see in configuration. Each and every field will discuss what is balance period, what is balance visibility. Okay, similarly, calculation. We're going to configure all this. How this calculation, unit of time, hours or days, the period schedules, how to configure or load the period schedules, the logic calculations, and the validation time of validations, and who is eligible for this time of plan. We will configure in the tenant based on the scenario. Okay. Any questions here on 30 minutes? What have we discussed? A overview? Anyone? Okay. I want to know all your availability. So can we discuss the timings?
Okay. What's the time commitment per session?
Initially, I had a discussion with So there, I heard like you guys are looking for a weekend training. Is that correct, ma'am? Or daily also okay, or alternate days also okay. So
I told the coordinator that daily is fine.
daily is fine. Okay.
And my time zone is in CST.
CST. Okay.
So it's in Chicago.
Okay.
So that's why it's 9:30, nearly 9:40 p.m. at night.
Okay, your
And
9:30 p.m. Okay.
so your 7:30 this morning was 9 p.m. Saturday night for me here.
Okay. Okay.
So
Sure, that was.
it's if I have to say when I'm talking, I can tell in IST for me, between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. IST is fine for me.
7 a.m. and 9 a.m. IST. So you're
can
trying to say, ma'am, either 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. You're saying
No, anytime between
between
7
7
and
to
9, I can
9.
make myself available because it's nighttime here.
Okay. So thanks, ma'am, for letting me know on that. So Manjit sir, how about you?
Yeah, I'm okay with. I'm okay with the morning timing in India. It is
Okay.
maybe around 8 o'clock, something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, sure, ma'am. I'm also comfortable with the time, but only one request is currently my payroll training is going on. It is 7 to 8. Sometimes it goes 7:15. But within next 2 days, it's going to be completed. So 8 o'clock also works for me. Okay, 8 to 9, as mentioned, both of you, it works for me. But
Okay.
2 to 3 days, I mean, what I'm trying to say, next 3 days I have to complete. It's almost done. Just question hour section is going on. In 3
Okay.
days I can complete it. Then after only I'm available for that time. So meanwhile, can I say in this way?
That's fine. That's fine for me. That means the next few sessions you want to start, it'll be 10 p.m. for me.
Okay.
But after that, if you can, and Manjit sir, if you can also accommodate, see, like I also have to. See, it's
Yeah, no
already
worries.
11. It's 10 p.m. if I start. How long is each session?
So we'll take every day. We'll stick to 1 hour session, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, even if we can make 7:30 a.m. if it's possible, then like 9:30 to 10:30. Even if we run overtime, it's fine. But next few days, I have no problem starting at 10 p.m. my time.
Sure, ma'am. I'm fine with the time is whatever you both propose. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. But only one request from my side is coming 3 days till Wednesday in India. Till that time, I have ongoing session, so I
Yeah.
have to close it. Then only I can pick up this one. Or else,
No, that's
if you are okay, so what I request, we can have a session on one Tuesday, and then on Thursday onwards we can continue. That is also fine.
that's fine. No problem.
Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, Tuesday we have one, and Wednesday will take off. Then Thursday onwards will be continue on regular basis. Is it okay with
Okay.
everyone? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna share this deck. So we are gonna follow this deck. Normally, this deck we are using. If any customer wants to implement Workday, we will present this one. So how we will configure, what all components they have, just to educate them. And this deck we are also going to use to configure the plans, and it's clearly explained each and every component. Okay, I will share with this one. Meanwhile, please go through this and be familiar with the terms and all. When we start our first session, we'll start the easy one first, then we'll go on to the complex one.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and the tenant access
Right.
will be provided by who?
Organizer, the person who's talking, even he has to provide the tenant access to me as well.
Okay.
So he will provide. He has that standard tenant, not a problem. That's not a problem. From my side, so what are the things I have to submit is a certification material for you guys for your practice to go to the definitions, concepts. At the same time, deck. And once we complete each chapter, I will give you few cases. Okay, scenarios or case studies kind of thing you require to practice in the tenant, and that helps us to get hands on.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be
Right.
good.
Sure, sir.
So,
Then, so yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please start.
oh no, you please respond to Mr. Manjeet.
Yeah. So the next session we'll have on Tuesday, and this Mr. Organizer he'll give the timings and all. So we'll start Tuesday. Wednesday we'll take off, and Thursday onwards we'll have a regular sessions non-stop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And Kiran, sir, if you could just explain, so this 1 hour session, you will provide the explanation and some tenant
Configurations.
demonstrations. Yeah.
Yes. In
Then,
fact, I'm sorry to interrupt, ma'am. This is just a overview session. That's why we are going to the PPT. Okay.
yeah,
Once we
yeah,
start the
today.
session, full 1 hour we will be in the tenant. Full 1 hour will be in the tenant and the document. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then after the session, then you expect us to do some like homework activities. I'm just trying to understand my
Yeah. So
time
how it works?
commitment. Yeah.
Right. How it works? First 1 week, what I request you guys, just go to the recordings. Whatever I'm explaining the classes, right? Go to the classes, and also whenever you have some time, go to the recordings and go to
Okay.
the book whatever we have provided. First, at least 5 sessions, so that you will be familiar. Then I will give you few requirements. Requirement documents, customer specific requirement documents. So you require to configure that in the tenant.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So 1 hour I will give the session, 1 hour instruction lead session. Then immediately next you have to practice on daily basis.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the following session, we can ask any doubts that we have.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. The first,
Okay.
or else if you have questions in the same session, if you can let me
Mm.
know. I'm flexible to spend some additional time to address that. It's not like 1 hour is done. I'm close. Not like that.
Yeah.
If you have any questions on the same session, we can discuss on that.
Okay.
Yeah, on the same time.
Okay. Now, I just want to make sure that I am making time in my schedule. So,
Right.
yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much. And the organizer will reach out to you and he will provide the tenant access and the required documents first. And we'll
Okay.
connect on our session. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you, Manisa. And
Yeah. Thanks, Kiran.
take care. Yeah. See you in the
Yeah.
next
You
session.
too.
Okay. So
Yeah. Sure.
next session
You will
is
receive the recording.
Tuesday
Tuesday.
morning for you
Yes.
at
Yes.
8 a.m.
8 a.m. IST.
8
Correct.
a.m. Okay, so Monday night for me. I just need to keep remembering the difference.
No worries, ma'am. This organizer, he will keep you send the mails. No problem at
9:30.
all. Okay.
Okay. Thank
That
you.
he will send the reminders. Yeah.
Okay. Have a good
Thanks.
weekend. Bye.
Happy weekend and good. Yeah. Good day. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.